We are live. Pa-pa-pam. So that everybody knows, okay, big truth. I'm going to start with the big truth because we just had a little chat, you and I. We all have legal issues on social media.
Whether you know it or not.
Yeah. So we're gonna dig that into that with Corinne Boudreau, who is a lawyer, CEO and legal educator, an amazing one, and founder of the business that you can find online that is called, I want to have it right, Online Legal Essentials for Canada. And around this video, there is links anyway, if you want to learn more right away. But today I invited Corinne because I wanted to talk about what do we do right when we post on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or any platform. We send emails, we tell people to download our PDF, we tell them, go to my website so that I'm gonna retarget you with my ads. So what are the essentials that we have to really pay attention to so that we're compliant and we feel good about it? And it's not gonna be a big surprise if someday you receive a notice, and I did before from Facebook saying, if you do that again, you're gonna die, basically. Like the big legal notice. And like, it's like when it happens, like, holy moly, right? So what can we do at the foundational level that could help us avoid trouble? But first, Corinne, tell us more about how you got into that online legal business stuff.
Oh boy, it's a long story, but I'll try to give the brief version. I say now that I'm a child of a teacher and a lawyer, so I've kind of combined the two. But I went to law school kind of late. I think I became a lawyer at 32, and it had taken me a long time to get there because I don't think I wanted a traditional role in the law. I was always kind of a rebel. So it's kind of funny that I've ended up where I am because it's kind of come full circle. I started out actually in a big law firm. It was the biggest law firm in Atlantic, Canada, and really learned all about business law and advising businesses. But one day I got an email from one of my clients saying, Corinne, we loved all of the work that you did, but once we got your bill, we were just like, so I always knew that I loved working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, but sometimes a big firm is not always the best place to do that. So after like 11 years at this lovely big law firm, I left, and then I decided to start my own firm. And after I started my own firm, I got a call from a business advisor at the Center for Women in Business, which is in Halifax, where I am. And she said, Corinne, I'm always getting legal questions, and we put on these courses for entrepreneurs. Could you come up with a course? So I actually started teaching this by putting together course materials for an in-person course. So I still do that. It's 40 hours. It's through Workplace Education in Nova Scotia. So basically, if you're a Chamber of Commerce or a business association in Nova Scotia, you can get funding to put on courses for entrepreneurs. So I've done that now 9 times. So that really helped me figure out how to teach these topics in a very practical way.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear about the Constitution Act of 1867. Like, you're a business owner, you're like,
no time for this.
Yeah, I want to know what I have to do. So it was really helpful to teach and stand in front of entrepreneurs and have them ask me questions. And again, I've now been a practicing business lawyer for 18 years. So between having client questions over the years and creating this course, then very quickly I realized I created a course, but it needs to be an online course. So then I took a very deep dive into the whole world of online marketing and all this stuff. So I became a follower of Amy Porterfield, who's an online marketing sort of expert. And I went to San Diego. I've been there 3 times to different events of hers. I kind of belong to a couple of groups of hers. So I took a very deep dive into, like I say, the online world. So all of this has kind of come together with my legal experience and the online businesses to create. I really want to help like business owners create a strong legal foundation so that they can grow with confidence. Yes. Because I know sometimes people feel stuck or overwhelmed. They know that there's a way that they can grow. Maybe it's taking on a partnership, maybe it's, you know, moving into a different line of business, maybe it's hiring people, but they feel a little bit overwhelmed. They don't know what to do.
Well, it's
So
hard. It's hard. So that's why I love the 5 points that you decided to choose today. So let's dive in. And then after that, we can't forget to talk about hockey and music.
okay.
Because that's your thing on YouTube. That's how I found you when I heard your name and you were playing the guitar. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's funny. Yeah.
Okay.
So people tell you that you have to be your authentic self on social media. So someone convinced me that I should play the guitar. So I'm not a professional, but yeah, we'll get into that.
But you have fun. It was fun. Okay. Yeah. So what are the 5 things that we should be paying attention as a business owner who do social media and digital marketing? So first thing first, let's go.
Okay. First things first. Number 1 is to remember that you're a tenant when you're on social media. So just like any tenant, you have to pay attention to the rules. Otherwise, the landlord could kick you out. And you were talking about that sometimes. So again, if you're on Facebook, you should understand the Facebook terms of service. Sometimes, I mean, we don't have time to get into all the things that people do wrong, but every social media platform has terms of service. So you should understand the do's and don'ts, because if you go afoul of those, then again, you could go to social media jail, which could mean, you know, shutting down your account or whatever. So just keep that in mind. You are a tenant, and there are rules that you need to follow.
I'm taking notes and I put them in the comments as you talk. So number 1, read the terms of service of your social media platforms to make sure you're compliant. Okay. Number 2.
That's right. Number 2 is make sure that you have the rights to share content that you're sharing on social media. So sometimes people find a picture that they like somewhere on the internet and then post it on social media. So you really should only be posting things that either you create it yourself, that means you own them. You know, we all use stock photos. So if you go to a place and get some stock photos, you actually get a license to use those. So just make sure that you have a proper license. And if you're a business, it should be approved for commercial use. That's what that means. So personal use is different, but commercial use, you should have a license for that. Or again, if you're creating something with someone, like you're getting testimonials from your clients, you should get their permission to use their words and their pictures or videos in your content. So that just covers you for knowing that you have the rights to post what you're posting. Now,
okay.
So go ahead.
A question. So testimonial. So I'm going to tell you how I do it, and you tell me where I miss a piece. So basically, I reach out to my clients and I send them usually it's an email and say, okay, would I would love to have your testimonial, and here are 4 questions I'd like you to answer. Let me know if you're cool with this. Please use your phone, and I will use it on my social media platforms or any marketing platforms. But I don't ask per se for a specific consent or signature. So should I have a specific form for that?
Well, I do have a form that people can fill out. I think the way that you've worded your email, it makes it clear that you're going to use it in social media. But I'd want to word that pretty broadly. The reason I say this is because we repurpose content now. So again, we're doing this as a video, but you might want to take something that I've said and make it a quote.
Yes.
Or you might want to take, I forget what they're called now, and make a little video and audio clip.
Yes. Yeah.
Those things. Yeah. So because it's great to repurpose content, again, I would just make sure that your wording in your email says that I can use it in any format without paying you. That's the other thing. Sometimes people get, and I don't know, I guess people know that testimonials are free, but sometimes people say, well, if you're using it in your advertising, maybe you should be paying me some money or something. So just make it clear that they're not going to get payment for using their testimonial, and that you might repurpose it in different ways. Okay. And then I think you're good. But I did create a release if people do want to use that too.
Okay. How do you call that? A release statement?
It's like, I call it a content release. So it basically says you can use my content. You can
Okay.
use my likeness.
Release form by Corinne, so that people can see it. I'll put in the comments all the stuff we talk about. Okay,
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
number 2.
if I tell you right now we're live, Corinne, do you allow me to take chunk of our conversation to post it somewhere at some point somewhere in the universe? Is that enough?
Yes. We're now live. You got it. You've got my express consent to do that.
Okay, you can raise your little thing.
Oh yeah. We'll make this legal.
Okay, cool. Number 3.
Number 3 is think about having a social media policy for your business. So like an internal policy, like you would have a travel mileage policy or like a vacation policy. Basically, this is important as your business grows, and it's not just one person doing social media anymore. So you can kind of say what the values of your company are, what you're going to do in social media, what you're not going to do. So one of the things that is a risky area in social media is if you're ever talking about clients, you don't want to make sure that you're not breaching any confidential or private information about them. That's particular in financial services, in healthcare. I mean, there's certain areas that are in law, certain areas that are more sensitive. But if you remind everyone, again, if you're going to be doing social media on behalf of the company, don't do this.
Okay.
Again, you might want to say something like, we're not going to make negative comments about other businesses. We're not going to make comments about, former staff, or sometimes even staff and former staff or something like that might start a feud on social media. So you want to make it clear what's business and what's personal so that anyone who's doing social media on behalf of the company knows what the policy is. Yeah. One more thing, just on passwords, you should also have some guidelines around who has admin access, if passwords get changed, where do they get stored, all that kind of stuff, so that your business doesn't lose control of your own social media assets.
So what do you suggest around passwords? Like have a special platforms with someone who is the lead on it, but because of turn around in a team, like I work for a big team and we are always new people, and someone leave with a password and we're stuck, and and then they send you text on your phone to confirm the password, and a person is not here, right? So how do you handle that?
I mean, I love password managers. I use LastPass, but there's 1Password, there's a bunch of them. But you can actually, one person can have the main account and then they can share passwords with other people, but then you can also revoke access. And whenever you change a password, it gets reflected in your password manager. So that's one possible way to do it. I mean, people also do it in other ways. They might have them in Dropbox folders or Google Drive or something like that. But it's just important to give some thought to that. I mean, you think about how locking up cabinets and locking doors and security cameras, but for social media passwords, it's good to have some central way of dealing with them.
Totally agree. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So let's recap. Number 1 was to make sure that you are reading the terms of service of your social media platform. Number 2, make sure that you have the right to share whatever the content you share on social media. Is it yours? Did you create it? Or did you borrow it from someone? Did you have the permission? Or did you have a license with a stock photo platform or something like that? Number 3, heavy suggestion when you have a team to build an internal social media policy so that everybody knows how to behave on social media as an employee versus as an individual, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 4.
Any original content that you create is protected by copyright law. So the good thing about that as a business is it can become an asset. So if you're writing blog posts, if you're doing a podcast, if you're doing videos, all of that you create is protected. So it has to be original and it has to be published in some format. But after that, you basically get copyright protection. So it's good to use the little C and the name of your business and then the year that you created it. and then you can put all rights reserved, which again reminds people that it's yours, and if they want to use it, they should ask you. So, and the good thing is then if someone takes your content that you've created, you can say to them, hey, this is my copyrighted works, stop using it. And if you have to go to the next stage, you can, send them a cease and desist letter or whatever. But it's quite common that people, lots of people come to me and say, someone just copied my website, or someone just copied my, my online course, or someone took my photo and put it on a t-shirt, or and is selling it. So all this stuff kind of goes on. Again, can you stop all of it? No. Some people say, well, I'm not going to worry about that. Flattery is, what does it say? The ultimate form of,
they like what I do basically, so that's good.
Yeah. But again, sometimes I say it keeps honest people honest. It reminds people that I've created this, so if you want to use it, you should ask me. And so I might say, yes, great. Yeah. I made this blog post. If you want to repost it on your blog, that's great. I'd love for you to do that. Yeah. But again, just ask.
Yes. Okay. And so when you say copyright, it's anything. It could be any post that we do, any blog article, anything, any video.
Yep. It covers anything that's written or, music. Obviously, it's big for musicians, copyright issues, anything artistic. So it could be, again, photos or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. At the very beginning of Facebook Live, I remember I was doing a Facebook Live and then I played the music on my phone and Facebook shut down the live. Paf! Right. And then after that, they came up with, now they have a music library where probably they have agreements with, those music providers, but now you can use their own music. But I was like, oh my God, that's serious stuff. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you do have to kind of think about that.
Yeah.
But again, when you know that you can protect your own content, that helps your business. And then if you ever go to sell your business or even get a loan, you can sort of say, well, I have all of these assets that are copyright protected. So
yeah.
And you don't have to register copyright. Trademark is different. You have to actually register trademarks. They're part of your brand. So if you wanted to trademark social media love, you could trademark that.
Yeah.
Or logos. But the good thing about copyright is you don't have to register it. You basically don't have to do anything to get the protection. And it's protected all across the world. So it's different countries.
Oh, wow.
So if you publish it in Canada, it's protected anywhere else too.
Oh, wow.
So
that's cool. Do other countries are like that? Or is
we have a treaty, and I don't know. Don't ask me the name of the treaty right now.
Okay.
I don't remember all of that information, but
yeah. But that's interesting. Wow. Okay, awesome. So number 5, let's finish with a strong one that is a little scary for some people, because where do we start with that?
Right. So you should just understand the email anti-spam legislation rules. So in Canada, we have something called, I think most people pronounce it CASL. So it's the Canadian anti-spam legislation. So what it says is that there are certain rules when you're sending people messages. Most people think of it as email, but in the law, it actually says commercial electronic messages. That's the term. So it actually also includes like DMs or texts or anything else that people might come up with. So it's whenever you're sending people electronic messages from Canada, you have to comply with these rules. So they're actually not terrible to comply with. There's really three main requirements for Canada. And I'll talk about the GDPR in a minute, but
yeah,
one of them is you have to identify yourself as the sender. So usually if you're using MailChimp or ConvertKit or Kajabi or whatever, if you're using an email service provider, you will have to put that into the program, and then it appears at the bottom of your email.
Yeah.
But if you're not using that, you do need to, that's part of the law, is you have to identify who's sending it. So that's number 1. The second part is you have to have an unsubscribe mechanism. So there has, and again, if you're using an email service provider, there's usually a link that people can click. So you have to provide people with the opportunity to unsubscribe. And then the third one, and this is the kind of the most complicated one, is you have to have people's consent. So in some format. So in Canada, we have some slightly different rules that I think are a little bit more friendly to business. So you can get people's express consent, which was me telling you, yes, I consent to you using this. It means someone tells you or someone clicks on a box.
Yeah.
So if you ever have something saying, oh, do you agree to sign up for my email list, and they check a box, then you've got their express consent.
Yeah.
So you're good. But if you ever have a situation where you don't have someone's express consent, then there's also in Canada these rules around implied consent. So implied consent in Canada could be somebody that has, it's business to business. So again, if you go onto my business website and you see an email address that's published there, you can send me a message because I'm a business.
Okay.
If anyone ever gives you a business card at an event, you can also add them to your email list. So a lot of people don't know
really?
that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the exceptions. It's like the business card exception, except if they say to you, here's my business card, but don't add me to your email list. But that would be a weird conversation.
Wait.
Why are they even giving you their business card?
Oh my God. I never did it because I thought that was not part of it. Or if you're at a show, and then you want people to subscribe to your newsletter, or you do a draw, at your booth. Does that mean that this is this little paper where they put their name, or if it's electronic, you're allowed to put that in your system?
Well, the thing with those trade shows is often it's not so much that it's another business. It could be like my mom comes up to your table. So if she's like a consumer, an individual, that doesn't apply. But if we're at a business networking event and I give you my business card,
okay,
because we're doing business.
Okay.
But if my mom comes to your table at a trade show because she's interested in your product, you still should get her to check, to fill out a little thing and say, I agree to join your email list.
Yeah.
And then it also applies to anyone who's made a business inquiry of yours. The problem is that only lasts for 6 months. But if someone goes on to your website and says, oh, can you tell me about your services? Then you can email them for a period of 6 months. That's implied consent. So that helps people to follow up sometimes. Or if you've done a business transaction with someone, so if you've had a previous client, you can actually email them for 2 years from the time that they've been a client of yours. So those are just some of the ways that you don't have to have everyone's express consent in Canada. You can have these other categories. The other one is friends and family. So again, lots of people, when they're starting out a business, you can actually add all your friends and family to your email list at the beginning. And you might think, well, why would I'm just picking on my mom today. Why would I want my mom on my email list? Well, the thing is, sometimes my mom might know someone and tell them about my services. So I think the marketing people say it's always good if your mom understands what your business does, right?
Yes. And my mom, I think, attended all my first webinars and all.
Yeah, my mom definitely reads all of my emails. So
test my PayPal buttons and send me €1 to see if it works. That's cool. Our moms. Okay.
And then the GDPR. So I don't want to forget that. So
the
GDPR is legislation in the European Union. Normally, we don't worry too much about what's happening in the European Union, except if we're going there on vacation or, people are coming to visit us or whatever. But their legislation actually said, not only is it going to apply to people who are physically in the European Union, but if anyone is sending emails to people in the European Union, then you also need to follow the rules. So if you're a business that has clients or potential clients in the European Union, you do need to worry about it. So you should actually refer to their legislation in your privacy policy. So every business should have a privacy policy on their website. So if you're dealing with anyone in the EU, you should have a GDPR part to your privacy policy. the big difference again is we talked about consent. Anyone in the EU, you need to get their express consent. So you can't rely on any of these other
No business card. That doesn't work.
No business cards, no. And what happened a couple of years ago is when it came in, I think it was May of 2018. It was 2018 anyway. People got concerned because a lot of times with freebies, you would have a freebie download, but then people wouldn't click the box to say,
yes,
I agree to join your list. So if someone from the GDPR, if they don't expressly agree to join your list, then you can't email them anymore. You can deliver the freebie, but then you can't send them any more
emails. I have that a lot from Europe, actually, and I don't know if it's because people don't know or I don't think it's intentional, but it's like, please go back and check the box. But yeah.
And sometimes people say, well, is double opt-in required? So double opt-in is not required in Canada. Again, if you want to get people's express consent, you could do it through double opt-in, but you could also do it on your initial, like, lead magnet, freebie, whatever. But you don't necessarily have to do double opt-in. And again, in the US, you don't have to do double opt-in either. In the GDPR, again, sometimes people like to do double opt-in so that it's very clear. You get very clear consent to say, yes, I agree that this is my email. I agree that I've consented to be on your email list. So it's kind of that extra level of clear consent.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. So, Corinne, if someone listens to that and says, oh my God, I need to check everything, I think I'm not compliant or there are some pieces missing, how can they reach out to you?
Well, I have a website, Online Legal Essentials. And I actually created a checklist for people that are doing business online. I think you're putting the link to it.
Yeah, it's already there. Yeah. I'm going to put it in the comments again.
So again, you were asking me before the live show started, where do I, how do I keep adding things, or when do I keep adding things to my shop? It's when people ask me. So people asked me for this checklist because they were like, can you just give me a couple of pages of things to go through? So it's like everything else. You might not do everything today or next week, but it will tell you where you are. And again, lots of people say, I don't know what I don't even know. So the checklist is meant to give you an idea of what are some of the things you should be thinking about. And then you can find maybe the one that's the highest priority for you. Yeah. Often people come to me just before they're launching something and they say, okay, I'm going to open a new program next week or 2 weeks from now or a month from now. I've created this online course, this online membership. I just want to make sure now that I have all the pieces in place because I'm going to start selling it very soon. So that's sometimes a trigger for people to make sure that everything.
Okay. Yeah, I love it because we touch, content we publish on social media, the copyright, our emails. So when you launch, there is email involved. And, when you're on social media, sometimes you do ads for your opt-ins, freebies, what does that involve? So we touch everything. GDPR, if you have clients in the European Union, like Social Media Love does in France, and if you do anything around building a team that helps you with your social media, make sure that, you have a policy around how to use your social media platform, how to behave as a person, as an employee, and where to put the passwords. What do you do when people leave the team and they go with passwords? Where is the password?
Yeah.
So that was just gold, Corinne, what you gave to us. And I have to say that I love your website because it's easy. Like if you have like a specific legal thing you want to address for your business, especially for anything that is digital, social media, even client agreements, how to get testimonials and stuff like that, you have Corinne. She has a tool for everything. We say, there is an essential oil for every pain or everything. And for every business pain, legal pain, there is a thing in your shop.
Well, thank you. See, now I've thought of something. I need to do something like with essential oils, but just put like contracts and like copyrighted. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to talk to your people about this. And I'm really passionate about, you know, business owners like growing with confidence. And I think some of this, just knowing this helps people do that. So
yeah. So if you're watching the replay and you have questions, you can ask your questions below the video. And please, if you know friends who need to hear our conversation, I was about to say in Spanish, especialmente, but no, especially what Corinne had to say, because I'm learning so much from you. Just make sure you reach out to Corinne, or you leave your message in the comments, or you download or check it. I'm gonna download it. I never did it actually yet, so I will. Yeah, thank you so much. And Corinne, how do you want to close? Like, is there anything we should have talked to that you wanted to address?
Well, I just want to say, I think a lot of people avoid all the legal issues because they're afraid and it seems super complicated. And I don't like to say this, you know, in front of a whole lot of other lawyers, but you can master the essentials of this. Like, there might still be times that you're going to have to go hire a lawyer, but the basic building blocks are not rocket science. Like, you can get this. You deal with all kinds of other complicated things in your business. You can understand this. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to like dig in and learn some of the legal stuff.
Yeah, one step at a time. Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll share that around so that more people see it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.